Thank you, Sabrina, for inviting me to this TEDxHolborn. I also use L in the word Holborn. I want to take you on a journey about the power of words. And that's the power of words that I have been witness to in my lifetime. Because I believe that words have the... I've gone completely blank then, so I haven't done a TEDx before, so I'm going to just restart and begin the journey. As I say, I want to take you on a journey about the power of words that I've been witness to in my lifetime. I believe that we use words very carelessly at times, without thought. I believe that words can devastate us beyond repair. And I believe the absence of words can shred our insides apart. But most importantly, I want to take you on a journey that shows how we have the power to heal through the use of words. Many of you will know this saying. Some of you will have had it said to you, some of you will have used it. But I think when we use this, we use it in a way to think, these names are not going to penetrate through me. They are not going to affect me. I am not going to take on these hateful and negative words. But I'm here today because I believe that words have a lasting impact on our lifetime. I believe that words can leave deep scars within us. And if these scars go unhealed, we never get to truly know who we are. We never get to know our real potential. And we never get to know that we are good enough as we are today. Because we're all imperfect, we're all flawed. I believe that these words become invisible injuries, where they're not open wounds and broken bones, and we don't have plaster casts on us, but instead they become the injuries of the voiceless. Back in 1997, one Tuesday evening at Body and Soul, a bundle of energy came bursting through our doors. He was a 10-year-old boy. He was bright, hopeful, full of smiles. And you would never have known that this 10-year-old boy had recently been told that he was HIV positive. You would also never have known that he had recently been told that his mother and his father had died relating to an HIV infection. These small words, imagine being 10 years old and hearing HIV, AIDS, death. They're small words, but with such a big impact. Mitch's journey went on to be one where he heard words that were isolating, rejecting. In fact, ultimately, they brought about the early death for him from this world. When you hear words like dirty, disgusting, scum, shameful, and you hear these words day in, day out. And that's not just from individuals, that's also from the words that become the collective consciousness of our society. These words do more damage cell by cell than the HIV virus does. HIV takes over our white blood cells. Our white blood cells are the cells that defend us, that keep us well. They're the immune system that look after us. And HIV destroys those. But science has developed, and there's medicines now that combat the way that HIV replicates itself. But my question to you is, what's the antidote to hateful and hurtful words that damage our insides? We are all the sum of all our experiences, all the words that we absorb daily. It's clear, and I think it's not contentious, and scientists have shown how our brains and our neural pathways are influenced and shaped by the words and the experiences that we have, particularly early on in our life. So I would say to you that the words that we use, have a physiological impact on who we are. Language is something that we take for granted. We think we have words and it's just here. We take it as something that's just within us. But I believe that we should appreciate the fact we have this gift. And for me personally, I wake up every morning and I make time and I'm mindful of the fact that this is an amazing gift that has been given to me from the universe, the ability to connect with my fellow human through the power of speech. Because I don't believe if I don't make that intention, it will happen by luck, that I will be able to use kind and loving words. I have to bring that intention each day to do my best. Outside of here, it's very calm in the hospital club, and it's all very calm in here. But out there, it's hectic. There's Twitter going on in here as well. But there's Twitter, there's texting, there's emails. There's a lot of noise out there, and words get shot out. They get thrown out like the arrow, and those words cannot be returned. Once they're out there, they're in the universe. We can't change that. They're impacting on someone. They're impacting on our society. They become engraved in our brains. They become ingrained in society. And over the 18 years that I've been part of Body and Soul, I have consistently seen the damage that hateful and hurtful words have on people living with HIV. And these words aren't just from strangers or from institutions, they're often from people that profess to care about us. People have been forced into homelessness, graffiti put on their doors, and most of all, people have had no one to turn to at a time when they needed someone the most. For me personally, it is also not just about the words that are put out in the world, it's also about the devastating absence of words. Recently, I've become more awake to the impact that this has had on my life. I spent the first 10 days of my life in hospital with little connection, and after 10 days I was given away to a family where there was a complete lack of words. I was never told I was loved, I was never told that someone was proud of me. I was never encouraged and told, actually, it will be all right. Instead, I had words of coldness, of criticism, of judgment. I think these words and this experience led me in a way to become voiceless. I was silenced, which is kind of ironic given I'm doing a TED talk, but it's work in progress. But what I was never silenced from is the ability to speak up for others. And in a way, I learned early on as a child that one of the biggest lessons of life is knowing that as a human being and for humanity, we need to hear and receive words of kindness and love. And this lesson enabled me to connect with what society sees as one of the most unlovable groups of people in our world. That's people living with HIV. And it enabled me to understand how words of love and kindness can be part of healing us. As children, if we learn to live with words of hate, of silence, of criticism, then we learn that we have no place in the world. We learn that we are not worthy. These words that are shot out carelessly, thrown out like the arrows, become our stories, our narrative. They become who we are. We are defined by what you say to me. For Mitch, at the age of 16, he'd had enough of all those negative and hateful words. He wanted to have a different reality. He wanted words of acceptance, of kindness, and of love. And he decided to check out in a way that I'm not going to deal with this. I'm going to have a different world. And he checked out of medical support. He checked out of social support and kind of run away from what this single word, HIV, had done to his life. But we all know we can't run away from pain. We can't run away from the words that you are telling me on a daily basis. And Mitch did turn it around. But one of the stories while he was kind of in the runaway part of the world was he was at a bus stop and he collapsed because he was having a stroke. And the people around him did nothing because they already had their judgments about him as a young black male. Eventually they realised he wasn't drunk and he needed help, urgent medical care. The ambulance arrived and a friend who did not know about his HIV status happened to pass by the bus stop. As he was there, seriously ill, in pain, the only thing that he could think about was, I cannot let anyone know about HIV. I can't tell the ambulance crew because somebody else might hear. His narrative was one that told him to be ashamed. His narrative was one that told him if people knew who he really was, if people really saw him for all that he was, they would not love or care for him. That is a very lonely place to be. So words can oppress or they can liberate us, and that's externally or internally how we actually process those words. Mitch died last year, but the inspiring and hopeful part of this story is that he did manage to transcend the pain of those early years of hateful and hurtful words. He re-engaged with body and soul, and he became one of our strongest and most significant young leaders of our time. He was able to hear, internalise and give back words originating in the concept of love. If we go back to the beginning of the story, that 10-year-old boy who was told he had a life-limiting condition, who was told why he was orphaned, and then lived in a world where he was stigmatised every day for just simply having a virus in his blood. This was then bombarded by media headlines like things like HIV monster. But he transformed this experience, and I think it's an amazing lesson for us all to know. If someone can go through all of that and transform their experience and understand what is important. The last months of his life last year, he was in hospital. I used to visit him every day. We talk about all sorts, from music to spoken word. He was a very creative young man. But one of the most powerful memories I have is when he talked to me about, do you know what? I know what is important. What is important is the word love. And that's love in words and love in action. And that's not love to get something back, because a lot of the time we give things out because we want something back. It's love given out unconditionally. And it's also not one-off, because sometimes people do something, because it's all right, I can do it today. But it's about a consistent daily practice of love in words and actions. The guaranteed thing, everyone in this room, we can't change it. We're all going to die at some point. We don't know exactly when, but we can't change that. That is our path. Now the question is, do you want to decide, do you want to know at that point of death, do you really want to understand what is important then? Or can we do it now, in the here and now, in the present? That's all we have, is this moment to decide, actually, we can understand and take breath to understand the importance of words. We can change our own narrative as well as the narrative for others. Mitch left a lasting impact on this world, and that was through his use of words with others, and also the way he then created his own story. I jumped already there. As we leave today, obviously you're not going to leave now because you're going to hear all the other speakers, but when you leave today, I hope that you will just take a moment to consider what words you use, because we have the power to create our own vocabularies. We have the power to use words with love and hope rather than hate. We can use our words as instruments of power to change the world that we are existing in. We can build a collective consciousness, a collective imagination that creates a world where words do not kill and devastate you, where words actually heal you.